Namaste. Before you enjoy this episode, please subscribe to my channel and share with your friends. Since we're talking about the foreign invaders and so on, do you feel that the reasons for India succumbing to foreign invaders has been adequately analyzed and understood such that we don't repeat the same mistake? Or do you feel today we are just as vulnerable? Because ISIS is like the early invaders against us.
Rajiv, my belief is, as a country we are secure. As a country we are secure. No country can conquer us, not China, not Pakistan, anybody else. We have a strong army. We love our country. We're all patriotic and nationalist. If something happens, all of us will volunteer to go fight. You can't take over on this country anymore. We're all united. Let's be very clear. Nobody will dare point a finger at us. Okay? The young people of this country are all nationalists and patriotic. They love their country. And they're not going to give it up. But it's the minds that are getting poisoned. The battle is in the mind. The battle is of ideas.
Right.
And the battle is the mind and ideas for our identity.
Right.
A group of people, the leftists who wrote our history, who are now clamoring and calling us intolerant, writing articles and writing all the kind of rubbish, saying that the ban on beef, we have ban on food, India has become this. These are the kind of people at the clique who were fighting this ideological battle against all of us and fighting the battle for our mind.
Right.
To deprive us of our identity, because that is the route to political power for them.
Right.
Because then they can control our mind.
Right.
And they were beneficiaries of the ancient regime.
Right.
The ancient regime, beneficiaries. Now suddenly they're out in the cold because the order has changed.
Right.
Now that is the battle we have to fight. And in that battle, they got the foreign subalterns.
Yes.
Now they got people in the US universities
Yes.
who are taken, we have written about it, Rajiv, we're the
Yes.
first person to write about digesting our faith,
Yes.
taken all of our civilization, turned it upside down, reinterpreted to superimpose their views on us and tell us their view of what we are, and we stupidly are putting in our mind and accepting it's total rubbish.
Right.
Now the battle is for a mind, because the people who come and do this are gone educated, they're beholden to them and they do it. They're not doing a great service to us as Indians.
Right.
So we need to fight this battle. The battle is not a physical battle. The battle is the mind, to retain our identity, to understand our civilization, to know the great messages of our Veda, the Gita, and to tell every Indians that the solution for humanity's ills is here. Our philosophy, the Hindu faith, the Hindu religion, gives a perfect answer for sustainability. Because in our culture, Rajiv, we live in harmony with nature.
Right.
We don't conquer nature.
Right.
We don't master nature.
Right.
We take from nature what we need.
Right.
We lead simple lives. Okay, and individual aggrandizement and individual, wealth is not our USP in life.
Right.
It is about societal claims. It's about family. Right? We don't seek to master. We don't seek to consume more and more.
Right.
We don't seek to destroy nature, conquer nature. We live in nature because we worship nature. We think nature, we are part of nature.
Right.
Now that's the philosophy that we have to foster. And we are an open system.
Beautiful.
And being a very open system, Rajiv, we believe that we are children of God and God is there everywhere. Whereas we are fighting faiths who try to convert us, who believe only if you follow their book you go to heaven.
And
now if there is a God, Rajiv, and God has made this world, God has made all the plan which they believe, do you think God will make people who don't believe Him?
Yeah.
That God will punish you and there'll be a devil? It's all nonsense.
And
all this thing is put into your mind.
Yeah, will God make every person born a sinner?
Born by a sinner, a child born to the child is sinner.
Yeah.
Because of the fact of birth, the child is sinner.
Yeah.
I mean, this idea that somebody is a sinner is so absurd.
Yeah.
And they put it into your mouth, and the good news, somebody has come, died for you, so you are saved as sinner, is absolutely makes no sense.
Yeah.
We got an open system, and this system we got to propagate, because this system has never waged war.
Yes.
This system has
Even
never killed
when we
people.
were stronger than the
Yes,
neighbors,
never
we
killed
didn't
people,
export. Yeah.
never killed people, never wage war, never try to conquer anybody else. You lead in harmony with others.
Not
you live in harmony.
expansionist. No mandate from God to be
There
expanding.
is no
the world.
mandate from God to go conquer and proliferate and make
Right.
everybody what you are.
Yeah, very
Nothing like that. This is a solution for humanity. And I think we have an answer. We must propagate that. We must tell our children. We must tell every Indian what a problem. Yes, we have social problems which arose out of poverty. We have differentiation and discrimination which came out of a static society. Now the society grows, society becomes richer, many of them will disappear.
Yes.
Now the oppression will disappear because of poverty.
Yes.
If the bareness here that there large middle class come, all the things will disappear. If all women are educated, Women empowerment will arise. We'll all be greater equal.
Yes.
The rule of law is enforced. The weak will be as good as the strong.
Right.
The rule of law is not enforced. The strong will be stronger because they manipulate. They conquer the state and use the state for their own personal thing.
Yes.
Now we are going to solve these basic problems.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we should do all this so that we ultimately answer the most important question in life. What is the reason for existence? Why do we live? What is the purpose of life?
Right.
Is the purpose of life acquisition of wealth? Is the purpose of life power? The power to dominate, the power to kill? Or the purpose of life is happiness in the mind, tranquility in the mind? Because we think of the great questions of humanity. We answer those great questions. We look at natural beauty and rejoice in the beauty and pass our lives from the day we are born to the day we have to go, because we're all mortals, in a way that makes us much better than what we are, and leave the world a much better world for our people who come by, and not take from the future and consume it today because we are greedy, right?
Very good.
Now, these are things that I think have been important questions for us, which we must pass on.
Now, in this regard of this knowledge and intellectual battlefield that we are in, one of the things I'm doing, you'll be happy to hear very soon, is I'm personally going to have a 5-part mini-series, my own analysis of Romila Thapar.
Oh,
A
brilliant.
response to,
Brilliant.
I've analyzed her whole work, and 5 major themes she has. Each one I'm doing an analysis and my response. So is India a nation?
And you must expose the bias and the lies in all this
All
thing,
this.
which have formed
Yeah.
the theoretical background for much of what is there in this
Yeah,
country
yeah.
now.
So each week will be one. So her views on whether Hinduism is legitimate or not, her views on India, is it a legitimate country or not, all of these things are Aryan theory. So I've taken each of the 5 major themes I've organized her work in, and then I'm going to take point by point, show you a video of her statement and then a rebuttal. So this is the kind of thing we have to keep doing.
No, one more thing, Rajiv. We need to create centers for study of Indian civilization, the best universities without ideology. In 10 universities, we must set up a center of excellence for the study of Indian civilization.
Yes.
In 10 universities, we must set up a center for comparative religion,
Yes.
like it's done in the West, where we study religion in the academic manner,
Yes.
where we dissect it, we debate it, we do it without ideology.
Right.
Once you inject ideology and biases, then it takes a different form. We must do it the way it is done in the world, now in a very liberal context. So yes, individual teachers can have their own biases, but we'll have a greater body of knowledge. But we must not have all of them to be leftists with a particular ideology, because that distorts everything else.
Right. No, that's
So,
very.
I think India should invest. China is investing in
Yes.
the Confucius Institute.
Yes,
Every
yes.
country is doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, you spoke about American exceptionalism.
Right.
Now, Trump has exposed American exceptionalism for what it is.
Right.
I mean, the Americans expounded the theory of American exceptionalism for the last 15, 20 years to say that a very liberal nation who are open society, open to global trade, open to immigration, and open to great ideas. And Trump has shown exactly that 50-60% Americans don't believe in that. They're very parochial, they're very inward looking, they don't like immigrants. On the race issue, there are many doubts about many of them, rightly or wrongly, and they show them for what they are. Now, we have been suppressed so much and been beaten down so much, saying we are a casteist, misogynist society, we are a bad society, we have this and all that rubbish. Now we must awaken to say what we really are.
Yes.
We are a great civilization.
Right.
We have great philosophy. We have done wonderful things. We have been conquered by Islamists for the last 1,000 years, and then by the British, right? We have been oppressed. Rajiv, I'm a Konkani. Okay, Konkanis are settled down in Goa. Now, till maybe 3-4 years, I didn't know the history of myself, my own community. Then I started reading and I found out there's an inquisition for nearly 200 years in
course,
Goa.
the Portuguese,
The
yeah.
Portuguese were the most brutal inquisition in the world was there.
Yes.
My forefathers were killed.
Yes.
They were raped. The women were raped. The temples destroyed. Our gold was taken away, and unbearable atrocities done against us. Books
Yeah.
have been written on that. Now I want a museum of the Inquisition to be in Goa,
We should
like the
do a-
Museum of the Holocaust, so that we tell our people never again. It is not to foster hatred, not to foster it.
But
It's
learn
to
from
face the
history.
truth.
Learn from
and say, never again will we be dominated by somebody or conquered by somebody from outside who are going to suppress us and kill us like this. You know, I shed tears when I was told that my forefathers took the deity from the temple, and the night they ran away, crossed the river and went to the other side near Ponda and set up temples. And my own family temple was in a place like Salsett or somebody where they were totally destroyed. The whole thing was razed to the ground.
My God.
You know, it is my family history. My family history.
Yeah.
Now, what do you want me to do? And I'm supposed to believe that these are all great people and all the thing. And one of the priests, Francis Xavier, is supposed to arrest the Inquisition. Now they marinate him, they put his body there because we've been brainwashed. Let us face the truth.
Yes.
It's not about hating anybody or doing anything, but we must face the truth that the Jewish people have done.
The
blacks are doing very well. Blacks are doing well. The Jewish Holocaust has to be done well. And I think the Jewish Holocaust, we must have this. So all these memories have to be there because we have to evolve, get over the subterranean things in our mind, and make sure future generations understand the history, the good and the bad of it, reconcile themselves and live as good citizens.
One of the conferences we are planning is on the Hindu Holocaust. We're planning. So the Goan is part of that. My father's generation came from Lahore. So they actually suffered this. They actually suffered the partition, a huge amount of, they had to run away from Lahore. Many people in the family didn't make it. And my father was declared, he and a few of his relatives were declared dead. My mother was in the India side. And so they started mourning, but they managed to escape. So they came. Oh. So my father made it, but they were not supposed to have made it. So these are stories we learned in
We should
childhood.
learn, and we should keep the stories. And you know, Rajiv, in my state of Karnataka, we have a Congress government. They celebrated Tipu Jayanti. Tipu Sultan was a bigot, a killer, a psychopath, a jihadi. His writings are there.
He is like the Aurangzeb in the
Arvind
south.
Nilakanthan has done that. He sent a word to the Caliph to come conquer Hindustan and said he's going to do that. He killed the Kodavas and butchered them.
Right.
He destroyed the Konkani temples in many places, North Karnataka, near the Malabar.
Right.
He went against the Nayars in Calicut and he killed them. The Madhvas in Melkote were butchered, 850 of them were butchered. The Mangalore Catholics, 20,000 of them were captured, marched from Mangalore to Srirangapatna, and only 10,000 went back because of some political issues. He was a very brutal man, yet not taking cognizance of the Kodavas, the Konkanis, the Mangalore Christians, Catholics, who are all part of Karnataka. Our Chief Minister and the Congress party celebrate Tipu Jayanti, saying that he is a great freedom fighter. He is a secularist. Can a jihadi be a secularist? Why secularist? Because he gave money to the Srirangam temple or Sringeri or some temple. He gave the money for various reasons. He wanted to keep people together. We know how many women he brutalized and put in his harem. We know these great stories of all the horrible stories. Yet we are told in our books, oh, he's a great guy. Just like Aurangzeb is a great thing. You forget about the brutality.
So we have a kind of a collective Stockholm syndrome, hating
No.
hating
Rajiv,
the oppressor.
this is all done by the leftist historians put into a mind because they believe, I'm told, as part of the national integration campaign of Indira Gandhi at the time she came to power, that we have to exercise all this from history, make all these figures good so that there'll be no relapse into hating Muslims or into loving Hinduism. Okay, they want to do that because they believe that we want to remake this country because we don't want communalism. They believe communalism was a threat. But
so they feel that Hinduism is the problem.
Yes.
And getting rid of it is the
Jihadis
solution.
are not a problem.
Yeah.
Jihadis are not a problem.
Yeah.
For example, journalists in Delhi, I had a fight with a journalist in Delhi on Twitter who was trying to glamorize Burhan Wahi.
Yeah.
Burhan Wahi is a killer.
Yeah.
Burhan Wahi went and killed sarpanches in cold blood.
Yeah.
And he was very proud about it. He did a video. Yet this journalist wants to glamorize that person by saying, oh, son of a school teacher, he's on social media, he's young, giving this image as if something wrong happened to him and did it, and everything is excusable. And the same urban nationalists who glamorize Maoists. The Maoists are killers, for God's sake.
Yeah.
There is no room for killers in society. Whoever the killer is. There is no room for killers. There is no room for violence in society. Anybody indulging in violence should face the consequence of the law. Anybody, it doesn't matter who it is.
Right.
We can have debates, we can have violent disagreement, but no violence. Now they pardon the violence of the left, they pardon the violence of jihadis because they believe they must save the country from all of us, from the Hindu community.
Right.
Hinduism is bad. I don't know this distorted logic. What is wrong with this?
And that's the that's the complex we have, which keeps us from being a nation. But now, next book I'm writing is the Indian Grand Narrative.
Yes.
So that's an important one, and I'll discuss more with you also offline, because that's where I'm talking about what has been our narrative in the past, how this narrative got destroyed to over 1,000 years, what is the state of confusion and chaos today, what is the project we need going forward to develop our narrative as a very futuristic narrative. So that's going to be a book which will also provoke a controversy, because I'm going to be very honest about all these things, but they have to come out.
You're going to be evidence-based.
Yeah,
You're going to be factual.
Yes.
Let people criticize you based with fact and evidence.
Yes.
That's all.
Yeah.
Right? Evidence doesn't disappear.
See, none of my books, they've been able to critique the book properly. They always attack me as a person.
Yes.
So that is good news, because it means you cannot face the subject matter.
The sidestep.
Yeah, you are avoiding the subject matter, and I'm a bad guy.
And attack the person.
Yeah, and I'm okay. If I'm a bad...
in Twitter, when I say something and criticize them, they call me a bygod, they call me, abuse me.
Rather than addressing the issue.
Rather than addressing the issue.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a voice.
Right.
They don't have data on the side.
Right.
They don't have facts.
Right.
They've only got this conjecture.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another thing. Sri took 100 acres of land, I think, and built on stilts a platform to celebrate something on the banks of the Yamuna.
Yeah.
The environmentalists, all these terrorists who went to court to say that Sri destroyed trees very clear, there were no trees.
Yes.
They say they destroyed the ecosystem and the plant, there was nothing. And then they say because of the structure, the course of the water will be changed. And the NGT bought into all this rubbish and filed a case against him and penalized him. Now look at this. The Yamuna goes about 50-60 kilometers to Delhi. It's 1 kilometer wide. That is 60 square kilometers of land. Okay? And 100 acres is very small. It means there's no consequence.
Right.
And second, when these are all the floodplains, because the water is very low and the water is bad. When the floods come, everything gets washed away. The whole of the land is covered with 10-15 feet of water for 10-15 days a year. Everything goes. So where are the question of any plants being there, any water getting... Can you divert the water of the Yamuna
It's
by
so
anything?
unscientific, the
It's
whole
so
claim.
unscientific.
Yeah.
It's such a madness.
Yeah.
And then they also said, oh, you put something into the water is spoiled. The water goes away.
Yeah.
It all gets cleaned up. In our tradition, in the south, the Christians have, in Kerala, celebrate an annual festival on the banks of the Raidav river in the summer. If you go to Varanasi, in the summer, on the sand of the Ganga, when the Ganga's water is down, people celebrate, people have festival, is normal. It's normal on the floodplain in the summer to have celebration, to use it for human activity, to grow vegetable is very normal, nothing new.
Right.
Just because he's Sri, he became a red rag, all this environment terrorists, the JNU types had to go and bash him up, and they used the NGT.
Yeah.
And then when NGT said, what is required? Some professor came with some 130 crores to say, remedy this, to create a biopark, a very silly thing. Another biopark, 50 crores, they're not able to justify it. And they attacked me on Twitter, they attacked me in social media for pointing out their lies. Now, where is the intellectual discourse in this country, Rajiv? Where is the data?
Actually,
where is the evidence?
That's a very important point. Need for an honest and open intellectual discourse.
Not there.
Let's
debate on data.
Yeah,
they make personal attacks.
Yeah.
They attack you for something. And it's gone. And now that judge is also retired who accepted these people, because the media sent to sensationalize without any scale. And the 5 crores is they put money, they put thing on Sri. And Sri told them, I'm going to fight it out. I'm not going to submit to you.
And that's what he should do.
What he should do.
Yes, that's what he should. Now, one of the things we talked about earlier when we talked about the Jati structure also, what I want to discuss here is that the Jatis, I went to Nagapattinam during the tsunami and spent a few months there with the different villagers. And I learned a lot. I learned that there's a Jati that does deep sea fishing, and they don't do shallow fishing. And there's another Jati that does shallow fishing, and they don't do deep sea fishing.
The demarcation
there's a Jati that does fishing by hand, catch fishing by hand. And even the infrastructure, the boats for the Jati for deep sea fishing, differently designed, nets and all that. So their entire business model is to kind of break down divide the activities and not have competition. Whereas the model in the West, the modernity model is that more competition is better.
No. Subjugation of nature. This was sustainabilities. Do it in a sustainable manner.
Yes.
Each one limited.
Yes.
Don't give domination to one single person.
Yes.
Now, in our culture, the Brahmin community, which is supposed to be knowledge seekers, are not supposed to be rich.
They're not supposed to
be
or
rich.
nor have political power.
Not political
as
power.
Kshatriyas, yeah.
And the reason is very clear, because if you have knowledge and you have political power and you become rich, you dominate society.
So there's a control of all the forms of capital, whereas we have different forms of capital kept under different communities.
Checks and balances. They
Yes.
were all checks and balances in society for that particular reason. Now, Rajiv, when a society become static, doesn't grow, they all become rigid, and then some discrimination comes in, which is wrong, which has happened in India, which will go over when things become richer. If you read Ambedkar, Ambedkar makes a beautiful point. He says villages are cesspools of communalism. Why? Because in a village, it's a static society, static economy, nothing much happens, everybody has got his role, and there's a class structure, there's a caste structure, and there's a power structure, not a class, a power structure. So everybody wants to dominate somebody else down the line. The people at the bottom get the rough end of the stick. Now he told his people, the depressed classes like he called it, leave that city, leave that village and go to the town. In the town your identity is gone, nobody knows what you are. Remember all these leftists, including that one evangelist, a terrible evangelist from Delhi who comes on TV, they went to Durban to say caste is race, which is so stupid and intellectually dishonest. Now race is visible in your facial features, in your body picture, you can never escape it. Whereas caste is not visible. Now if both of us sit together, can we make out which caste you are and which caste I am based on my face? You cannot. Nobody knows what caste, what it is, right?
One can just declare anything.
You can declare anything,
Yeah.
and nobody knows what it is. Nobody goes and verifies. Whereas race is evident on your face.
Right.
And they tried to make caste into this because they wanted to convert poor people.
I think it was Kancha Ilaiah or John Dayal.
John Dayal, Kancha Ilaiah,
one
we
of
know
those.
this. And they did very dishonest people
Yeah,
who made
very-
dishonest arguments.
But see, they are funded.
They're funded.
It's a business.
And they're funded, but I was told that John Dayal went to the US Congress
Yes,
and
he
gave
did.
evidence
Yes,
against his own country.
And wanted to have sanctions.
And what a sanction against his own country.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
comes here and recites, and he
Yeah.
comes on TV and pontificates as an Indian. Kancha Ilaiah did the same thing.
Yeah.
And I was told, and once 65 MPs of this country wrote to Obama as some US president not to give a visa to Narendra Modi.
Yeah.
Now, how ridiculous can it be?
Ridiculous.
You are an MP sworn to protect the constitution of this country.
Yes.
You may dislike somebody, that's fine. You fight the political battle. You
But
don't go
find
to a
it-
foreign
but
power.
find it internal.
These are all Jay-chans.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
all these traitors who
Right.
did this. You can't go against your own countrymen and say, don't give it to somebody else. How can you write this?
And that's the tragedy we have. That's the tragedy we've
They're all
had.
Mir Jafars and Jay-chans.
Yes. What does Mohandas Pai think of the Modi government? That's what he discusses in the next segment.